a teenager or young adult child?
Yeah, I would be asking the doctor, how did you diagnose this PCOS? Because um, oftentimes people aren't really sure why they got the diagnosis. And sometimes, I mean, I'm this is where I'm like, I'm only a dietitian, but sometimes I don't agree with doctors when they diagnose PCOS, or sometimes they think someone doesn't have it when I think they do. And so sometimes you may want to get a second opinion. And one of the best things you can do is learn about something called the Rotterdam criteria. That's the criteria that we currently use to diagnose PCOS. And in order to get diagnosed with it, a person needs to meet two out of the three. And honestly, you don't even need lab work to get the diagnosis, but I know if this was my child, I probably would want lab work just so I would have like extra kind of concrete information. But the three criteria are irregular or absent ovulation. So your child may have really irregular periods, but of course, I mean, I have a teenager at home that menstruates. Like irregular periods are pretty normal, right? And so that's the other thing I wanted to mention is this parent may want to also ask, like, are you sure that they have PCOS? Because you really can't technically diagnose PCOS until someone has been menstruating for 7 years because of that really common irregular component. Now, that can change because there is some new research being studied right now on like lab work, like different lab work that can be added to the diagnostic piece. But then the other criteria, the Rotterdam criteria, going back to that, the other one is high androgen, so like high testosterone levels. And sometimes a person can get lab work to like show that, or you can sometimes just have like a physical exam, or if someone has more facial hair than they're expecting, or androgenic alopecia, or hair loss in their head, that can even just be a way to diagnose it too. And then the third is evidence of multiple immature follicles on the ovaries with an ultrasound. And notice I didn't say cysts. I always feel like that's kind of like the trivial pursuit question. You don't have to have actually you don't have like cysts on your ovaries. These are just immature follicles. And so they named it wrong. but
Mhm.
uh, but you don't even have to have those to have PCOS. And I always like to say that because someone watching right now was told at some point that they had PCOS, and then another doctor said, "No, you don't because you don't have cysts on your ovaries, and you don't have to have them." So, I don't know. I just think it's good to make sure that you have a really great, like, clinician diagnosing to make sure